but they have additional ammunition. Oh, let's go. In just their underwear in the middle of the field, rushing quickly out of their warm dugouts this night, the Russians had to, and urgently, because of several strikes on the military airfield. There was no alarm. The air defense failed. This is how the Russians first learned that Ukraine had acquired ballistic missiles. The discussion about Ukraine needing American ATACMS missiles lasted for more than a year. They were consistently included in every military aid package requested by the General Staff. And then, at the beginning of autumn, the deliveries finally took place. That's when the whole world saw how ATACMS operate in 21st century warfare. Helicopters are burning.
Huh? Helicopters are burning. Yes, I see.
Listen, they just burned the porridge along the way.
That night, it wasn't just helicopters that were burning. According to analysts, several strikes managed to eliminate dozens of Russian soldiers, destroy an air defense system, and several ammunition depots. But most importantly, 9 helicopters were completely burned. Another 15 were damaged and are beyond repair. A total of 24 pieces of equipment were put out of action.
As a result of strikes on the Berdyansk and Luhansk airfields, more than a dozen Ka-52 helicopters were destroyed. Plus, accordingly, airfield equipment and ammunition depots.
Later, it became known which missiles Ukraine used. MGM Kulfora, ATACMS Block 1. This is exactly the type of ammunition we received. With a total weight of more than 1.5 tons, the missile is capable of flying 165 kilometers. Its length is just under 4 meters and the wingspan is almost 1.5 meters. It is equipped with a cluster warhead containing 950 submunitions.
Is special about the ATACMS? The cluster warhead. If we are talking about the use of the N39A1 modification missiles, the warhead is 100G, 65 kilograms. But there are about 300 submunitions. That is, they explode and cover an area of about, well, 1 square kilometer. And they hit, accordingly, all the equipment concentrated in that area.
To put it in perspective, it's like numerous football fields being hit simultaneously by up to 1,000 combat elements. In order to illustrate the magnitude, they, by the way, besides directly destroying, also have an incendiary effect due to a special liquid inside. There is also a version of the ATACMS that flies twice as far, up to 300 kilometers. Due to the increased range, the weight of the warhead had to be reduced. It contains not 950, but only 300 submunitions. Additionally, a GPS system was added to the inertial navigation to prevent the missile from getting lost over long distances. Another version with a cluster warhead and index 164A was developed specifically for ships. It fires at 140 kilometers and has 13 self-guiding combat elements. In maritime conditions, the missile is capable of destroying almost any vessel and even a group of boats. The Block 2 modification of the missile has similar characteristics. The flight range there is increased to 220 kilometers. The warhead consists of 6 munitions, and the accuracy of hitting the target is almost doubled. The latest modification of the ATACMS is the Block 4A missile with a fragmentation warhead. It is capable of reliably hitting a target the size of a small truck at a distance of 300 kilometers and can strike almost any object.
This is in addition to the basis of material and technical support. In any case, the locations of personnel and the command points that are located quite deep in the rear. This may also include strikes on the various infrastructure objects, including bridges,
At the same time, all ATACMS missiles are ballistic, and as the first experience of their use in Ukraine has shown, they are beyond the capabilities of Russian air defense systems.
Everyone manages to see it, but practically no one manages to intercept it.
That is precisely like that. Look, 1, 2, 3.
The Russian missile and air defense showed extreme ineffectiveness. And therefore, the question will arise about the possibility of relocating aviation equipment to a distance that does not allow the use of ATACMS.
By the way, the range that allows the use of ATACMS, which the armed forces of Ukraine received, covers all of mainland Ukraine and half of Crimea. Nowhere in this territory can the Russians feel safe anymore. This is perhaps the first thing these missiles changed when they arrived in Ukraine.
We, of course, will be able to repel these attacks. War is war. And, of course, I said that they pose a threat. That goes without saying. But most importantly, they are fundamentally unable to change the situation on the front line. Impossible. This can be said for sure.
According to our analysts, ATACMS will significantly change the course of the war. According to the statement from the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the missiles will be supplied to us on a regular basis, which means Ukrainian bavovna. In the Russian rear will only flourish. Our agreements with President Biden are being fulfilled, and very precisely. ATACMS have proven themselves. The more comprehensively we can use them, both cruise missiles and ballistic ones, the more effective offensive operations and the effectiveness of hitting targets located at a depth of more than 100 kilometers will be, greatly improving the conduct of offensive operations. Another high-precision weapon with a range of approximately 150 kilometers, which will soon be in service with Ukraine, will be the ground-launched small-diameter bombs, GLSDB.
The warhead of this bomb is 93 kilometers, but the high precision, with a deviation of up to a meter from the target, and a number of features. If laser equipment is installed on the bomb, it can be used against moving targets and without laser guidance. It will be for stationary objects.
The manufacturing companies Boeing and Saab have already announced that they have produced and are ready to deliver the first batch of GLSDB to Ukraine. The exact number, of course, is not disclosed. However, it is known that the bombs will be with us before the start of winter. According to analysts, the main targets for the smart bomb will be command posts, military and equipment deployment sites, warehouses, artillery units, and similar objects, and other similar strategic targets.
We were striking such types of targets, well, up to 80, 90 kilometers. They are now located 100 kilometers away. And now they will have to do it from 150 kilometers away.
With a laser guidance system, the GLSDB is capable of hitting moving targets. Moreover, it is absolutely not necessary to orient the launcher towards the target.
You can even launch towards the target in the opposite direction. That is, we shoot forward, it turns around and hits behind you at a range of up to 150 kilometers.
The GLSDB is also capable of effectively countering the common practice of the rashes hiding in cities behind apartment buildings, schools or hospitals. After all, even at the design stage of the munition, the engineer was tasked with countering such enemy tactics. With the possibility of such maneuvers and considering the impressive flight range, the GLSDB also possesses phenomenal accuracy.
At a distance of 150 kilometers, you can literally thread this bomb through a basketball hoop. This is my favorite comparison. Its circular error probable is approximately between 5 to 10 meters.
Moreover, the smart bomb can quite easily confuse the enemy's air defense, as it can easily transform from one fast-moving target into several.
The rocket lifts this munition to a certain altitude, after which it detaches from it, thereby incidentally confusing the enemy's air defense. The enemy's air defense now sees two targets instead of one, assuming it's used individually. After that, using special wings, well, such equipment that unfolds in flight, this bomb glides towards the target.
Both the ATACMS and the GLSDB are launched from the well-known HIMARS or M270 systems. Simply put, dozens of multiple launch rocket systems already operating in Ukraine can be equipped, for example, with classic rockets with an 80-kilometer range, cluster ATACMS and strike GLSDB, and then launched in a single salvo.
As of today, this weapon is more important for Ukraine than aircraft, and in some sense even more important than tanks, because it will make it but very difficult for the Russians to manage logistics, if not completely paralyze it.
So the coming winter promises to be even more problematic for the Russians than the last one. In the snow-covered Ukrainian fields, being left without the rotation of ammunition, food and fuel supplies is the immediate prospect for the Russians. Well, we promise to keep an eye on this process and definitely tell you about the results of the Ukrainian Armed Forces work in the upcoming programs. So give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new episodes of Arsenal. Ace not Miala.